what you're looking at is the Holy Grail. It's really just a waveform. It's a way to structure energy. It's a basic waveform of a sustainable toroid energy flow. And that's what you are. And that's what God is. And you're a little microcosm. So let's talk about why this is ever brought up and how it's personally relatable. In the last video, we talked about how you could structure energy in golden mean ratio in a way that's sustainable. And you could structure energy in a way that's not sustainable. And so spirituality was really just a way to look at your nature from the electrical perspective so that you can optimize your sustainability as an electrical being. So let's say that this purple line here is an electrical wave. And let's say that that is God. Let's do a basic depiction representation. So it's got a positive and a negative. It has to have positive and negative. It has to go in cycles. The energy between positive and negative is where life is. So the more polarity you have, the more life you can have. So we talked about how when electricity is structured properly, it pops into a fractal, and that the reality you see is actually a fractal hologram in the imagination of self-aware electricity. And so let's say that this purple wave is a fractal. It's figured out how to be completely self-sustainable and generate more energy the longer it exists instead of lose energy. And last time we talked about the importance of the maintenance of these cycles and the balance of these cycles for sustainability, and that certain things have to balance out and there's not really a choice in the matter. And people take a lot of things personally against God that doesn't have a choice in how to keep things sustainable. Things have to balance out. And we looked at this basic depiction as the streams that all swirl together to make the hologram. So let's say you got the wave going, it's going in cycles, and we're all in heaven with God, and most of us are happy. And some of us wonder, we don't like what God's doing, or we question what God's doing, or we get seduced away. And so what happens when a group of souls decides they don't want to follow in the cycles anymore? They don't want to respect the Lord's will, and they don't want to do what God has ordained to keep the balance. So instead of, they're up here having a party, it's all positive, and it's time to swing back down and go negative, and then it's going to be uphill, and you're going to have to do some work. And so people are like, screw that. We're going to do our own thing. We're going to create our own reality where we don't have to do what God tells us. And that is the Garden of Eden scenario. So here you have a dragon. What this is a linear wave. This is a wave that's structured in Ouroboros. It's not structured in a sustainable fractal. So it has to eat energy off of something that's sustainable. So here you have the dragon, and she says, hey, you don't have to do what God tells you to do. Eat of that fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. And we're like, but God said surely we would die. And she said, no, don't worry about it. You'll be a God. It's just trying to trick you. And so anyway, long story short, a group of people decided to diverge from God's cycles. And so they split off and made their own reality. And because it's not sustainable, it has to steal energy from somewhere. So it's continually trying to steal energy from God. And so as you see God's trying to go in its cycles, and here you have this serpent, I've depicted it crashing. The waves are crashing into each other. And the serpent is stealing the energy, staying afloat up here off of all of God's work. I mean, you can relate to having all of your energy stolen so that other people can live high on the hog. And that's what you see here, because this is a goddess realm, and she's the dragon, and she wants to eat you. So this is a basic depiction of people that split off, and unfortunately, everybody that has a body, if you're in a human body, you participate in this, and that's what you're doing here. So there's really an alternate reality that's being created, and there's still God's reality here. So here's where the Holy Grail comes in. This is just a more accurate depiction of what this wave would actually look like, the purple wave. So let's take a look at the Holy Grail pattern. So what this really is, this is just a spiraling. This is what this looks like if you looked at it from the side. So now you're just looking at that same thing, same spiral from the side. What it does is it rotates around. So you have two spirals that are constantly opposed to each other that rotate around. And as they rotate around so fast, it creates a whole realm. And it creates these planes. And these are your planes of existence. And as you can see, they're reverse polarity. So right now, this is a goddess realm. Goddess regulates this. This is her realm. And all the energy is coming from the bottom. You can see it's negative energy. That's why everything that happens here is negative. And what's going to happen is these waves are crashing, and God is going to do like a whatever you want to call it, jujitsu, and steal the energy from Goddess. They're about to butt heads, and God's about to lay the smack down. He's going to steal all the energy from her, and it's just going to be over. And all that energy is going to be recycled back, and it's going to be used to fuel the next cycle. And so you see the energy is coming from the bottom, but in the next cycle, let's just say red or pink is female and negative energy, and blue is positive or male energy. So as you can see, the energy is coming from the bottom right now. Hell energy regulates this realm, but all the energies are about to tangle, and there's going to be a sudden flip, and the energy is going to be coming back down from the heavens. And so that's what Jesus was trying to teach everybody, is that, look, the path's getting narrow. God's reality and the people that work with God is just barely dwindling. And this one is taking over. You see, this one's getting bigger. It's stealing all the energy. And this one's getting smaller. So Goddess is peaking. She's getting big, and she's taking over the whole realm. And God is just very little tiny force here. And so God's going to steal all of the energy and flip suddenly. And this isn't going to be a goddess realm anymore. It's going to be a sustainable realm. And so if you're going this way, when energy, if you're going with the realm and all the darkness that's going on here, and you think it's okay, and you're full of inequity, when this flips, you're going to get burned. You're going to be laid the smack down. All this energy that she's been harvesting gets recycled. She works directly for God. They're not actually enemies, and they're not actually fighting. She's just eating all the people that don't serve God. to keep God pure, and then gives all the energy back to God. So if you're going with the realm, all the darkness, there's going to be a sudden flip. So if you're not on the narrow path, if you're not going this way instead of going this way, then you're going to get your clock cleaned energetically. There won't be anything left of you. Everybody that's in this alternate reality gets completely destroyed and recycled. And people say it's an eternal fire. Okay, the dragon, she goes on forever. The queen of heaven lives on, and she lives and she laughs about it. She loves destroying people that don't serve God. And she hates you. And she lives on forever. Sure, the Ouroboros itself is sustainable. But the things she eating, they aren't sustainable. Okay, those things disappear and they're gone. So the Ouroboros is a real nasty way to perceive infinity, because all the things are continually destroyed and rebirthed in a very brutal cycle. What you want to do is you want to get in a more sustainable cycle. Yeah, there's still destruction and rebirth. Yeah, there was a war in heaven. You know, a third of us decided we didn't want to do what God wanted us to do. We said some of us just didn't understand, and some of us were just tired of it. And you wanted to take the slide down and get recycled, and it's your choice. And it's time for everybody to make their choice. There's nothing wrong with going down to get recycled, and I don't encourage that anybody is against evil. It would be silly to be with God and ever be against evil, because everybody has their free will. But when you see these points coming up and you know the recycling is about to happen, okay, you can play with the darkness, learn from it. But when you see this thing's about to flip, you need to get facing the other direction. The time to play with darkness is over. Now it's time to get pure really fast. And it's time to work with God and open your heart to God. Talk to the Lord, invite the Lord in. You know, I know you have a lot of questions, a lot of resentments and things, but just ask, because it's all misunderstanding. I guarantee you, everything, unless you're just pure evil, everything that you resent, you're misunderstanding, or has been intentionally deceived by the goddess to try to get you to turn against it. And so this serpent and God right now, it all looks like one reality. It's all tangled together like this. It all looks like one reality. That's why in the Bible it says the devil prowls around you like a lion, because it's literally all around you. It's everything in your reality continually. Every second of the day, she says, give me your energy. Give me your energy. Do inequity. And in every second of the day, you're offered a more sustainable deal with God. So you can give your energy here, or you can give your energy here. But if you give your energy here, it's not sustainable. So you just have to, it's totally your choice. God wants to make it clear. That way nobody's deceived. But other than that, no one has any resentment against you. So that's the main gist, and that's this happened. We all decided we didn't want to do it anymore. Some of us, when the human souls were real young, it was a test. And we said, I don't really understand what God's doing. And I don't like some of the jobs that I'd have to do. And I don't understand why these other people got put ahead of me when I'm better at certain things. And people didn't understand why one was put ahead and one was put below, even though some were more powerful than others. And people got in an uproar, and Goddess is always there waiting to tempt anybody. And so she tempted everybody. And a third of us said, you know what? We're going to make our own reality. I was promised that it would be spiritual and that it would be loving like God's reality, but that everybody would have more free will. I mean, some of us were really tricked into it, and we were all told not to do it. It was all, but we weren't told why. And it's a big, and as you fall into that trap, it teaches you everything you need to know. And so it's not I mean, from my perspective, the whole thing was a setup. People act like it was an accident, or the devil was actually against us. No, it's like sorting little baby chickens. Like some of them are good, some of them are bad, and they go into two chutes. So the ones that didn't want to do what God wanted to do went down the bad chute, and then they learned the hard way why you want to do what God wants you to do. Or if you just really don't want to participate, then you have your option to ride the slide down all the way into darkness. But at the bottom of the darkness awaits the dragon, and you just fall into her mouth and you get eaten and recycled. So right now, we're falling all the way down, and it's time to turn back the other way. Some of us are spiritual adepts who are milking these cycles, and we have been for a while. And you go down and you experiment, and then you go back up. But it's time to go back up.